Hey girl, how's it going? How are you? How are you today? How are things? I'm just chilling on these stairs. I know there's someone in the comments who's going to tell me what these stairs are, but it's like these dragon stairs that just go down, and it's like 1,000 stairs. I feel like normally personal development is something I put a lot of energy and time into. And I feel like this idea, personal development, and like how you're supposed to grow, it's kind of this thing of you need to exert effort to grow and push. And I think this is the common paradigm through which we live in the personal growth and growth mindset stuff. But I've been kind of doing the inverse. And I've talked about this a little bit before, this idea of like soft motivation, to be able to be the magic to unlock your ability to do more, because there's no self-inflicted violence in creating the version of you that you want to create, because you don't feel guilty for when you can't create it. I think that's the magic touch there is in harder motivation or motivational speaking. It kind of perpetuates an idea and a myth that if you're not working towards something, then you are falling backwards and you're going towards like some kind of failure state, right? This is something that in a dichotomy world, in a binary world where you're saying you're either growing or you're like losing. I don't even know what the correct term is. Shrinking. When I say shrinking, what do you think of? What do you think of when I say shrink? All right, I'm just gonna say that. I know what I'm thinking about. But seriously, if you're shrinking, let's just go with this. If you're shrinking, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to kind of ungrow or to take a step back, because sometimes the fabric, the things that are needed, the infrastructure to help you grow, sometimes put you in some kind of stasis or catalyst where you can't grow other parts of you. I remember, for example, when I was running a business that was doing product design for tech companies and startups, and running that was great. It was fun. I had complete control over my company and who I hired and the work that we did, but I could only forecast 3 or 4 months out at a time. That meant that I kind of needed to create as much predictability in my life and limit the amount of unpredictability outside of my working life, which meant that I never really realized that I was trans because I didn't have space for it. When I joined a company and I created a lot of stability around myself, suddenly I was able to reevaluate other parts of me and become like liquid, have space to be more formless and refactor and reapproach from first principles who I was. Do you have anything like that? Have you experienced something like this where you realized that you needed to create some stability in your life because you had so much instability somewhere else? And I kind of like, this is a shame, but I kind of see this happening on a macro scale. It really feels like there's an effort to destabilize the global population by creating a constant sense of scarcity, fear-mongering, argumentation, the alt-right, the alt-left, anti-fascism, and the people that are not anti-fascist, the exact opposite. I wouldn't call them fascists, to be honest. Maybe they are. But like, it's like you have all of these things that are trying to destabilize your mind. And so if your mind has become destabilized, if you're feeling anxiety, then suddenly it's very hard for you to take risks that actually make your life better. When you feel insecure, what are you going to try and do? Create some security. And if you're going to try and do that and you feel the world is out of your control, what are you going to do to try and make you feel like your world is in control? Are you going to just not answer the question and escape? Make control happen in some little digital world? I see people in the trans club, which by the way you can join if you're trans, thetrans.club, where people like to do SimCity or The Sims and make their own environments and just live in them. That's fun. I like to do that. Every video game has its place, but where are you going to be taking your bets in life? Where are you going to be taking some risks that allow for you to grow and achieve something in your life that's going to make you happier? And this is where the soft motivation kind of comes into play, because I think hard motivation might be saying, you gotta like feel comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? But I'm not saying that. I think it's really like finding your balance, like finding your yin and yang. Where do you create stability so that you have the ability to work with the other instability in your life? And sometimes the simplest answer is get a new job, get more money, because if you have more money, you can use money to create stability, right? Like if you have money to pay for rent and you have money to pay for food, then you have the mental stability of not having to worry about paying for food, having to not worry about paying for rent. But then you have this idea of the future, and then you're like scared of the future. How do you deal with that? Well, you can get more money so you can hedge against the future in some shape or form, whether that's like buying a yacht and traveling around the world, which I certainly don't have that kind of money. Or, I don't know, like what I'm looking at right now is I'm like, what happens if I get a place in Thailand? What happens if I have a home in Thailand and I have a home in America and I have a home in Europe? Like, that would give me a lot of flexibility in where I want to live, how I want to live. And at the moment, it's kind of a dream, but I'm working towards it. Like, look here, I'm in Thailand, so that's just a demonstration of kind of like you can do this too. You can do this too. I am in the process of doing something where I'm pursuing my dreams that are going to create more stability. But in traveling, I'm allowing a lot of instability around me, and that creates a need and a desire to fall back onto this stable self here. Like, what is the stable version of me that's less liquid? Like, I am this, and this is all I am, because I don't have room to work on the inside so much as taking care of all the things that are outside. Or maybe this is something for you where, if you're transitioning, it's like your transition is so destabilizing that you really do want to create a lot of stability around you, right? And what can you do to do that? I would not recommend starting a new job and transitioning at the same time. I did do this and I almost got fired, but I quit before I got fired. So that was a good move because that worked out. It was a great move because I'm now working at this really great tech company that really takes care of me. Hey, doggy. Random dogs run around like that. So I'd like to know, how things are going for you. Like, where are you creating stability in your life where you need it, and where are you creating instability, maybe intentionally or unintentionally? And how's that affecting your ability to get what you're after, what you want, what you dream of? I'd love to hear from you down in the comments below. And if you can like and subscribe, that'd be great. Hi. That would be great. And, maybe you can join my memberships too if you want to support me. Thank you, Maya, for sponsoring me, by the way. If you want to be my sponsor, you can check out the membership section. I'll see you in another episode soon. Bye.